So, you want to be in the music industry. Have you thought it all the way through? Yeah? Okay then, let's do this. So, you're a singer-songwriter with a great voice and some killer tunes. Or you play in a band with a pretty huge following. Or you're an audio engineer who wants to open up your own commercial recording studio. Maybe you're a composer and you want to go to Hollywood and write epic film scores. Maybe you're a guitar player with some pretty killer chops and you want to play with big-time artists on tour, or be a session player. Maybe you want to run a record label, or be an artist manager or a concert promoter. You're young, you're hungry, you're talented, and you have big dreams. You love music and you want to make it your career. The music industry is tough and cutthroat, and it's one of the most competitive industries on the planet. It's definitely not for the faint of heart, and you have to be all in to see any sort of long-term success. Certainly there are better ways out there to make a living, but we do it because we love it and we have enormous dreams of making it to the top of the musical mountain. My name is J.R. Paredes, and I am a music producer, an audio engineer, a composer, and an educator with over 2 decades of experience. And I've experienced both the highest of highs and the lowest of lows in this industry. I have also taught and mentored literally hundreds of young and up-and-coming musicians who also want to try to make it into the biz. And I want to help you take your first steps in the treacherous terrains of the music industry. The advice I'm sharing with you in this video can be applied regardless of the music industry profession. Also, everything that I'm sharing in this video is based on my personal experience. Everybody's experience is vastly different. So if you're a longtime industry pro watching this video, please comment below if I'm forgetting something, or if you have any other bits of advice you'd be willing to share. All right, let's do this. Number 1, know that it's a business. This goes without saying, but it's worth driving the point home. It's a business first and foremost. Get that ingrained in your mind right away. You have to enter your career with a business mindset. The music business exists for the sole purpose of making money for some people. It doesn't exist to create art, although many do create things that are artistic. Even back in the 1800s, the primary goal was to write catchy, formulaic pop songs, have them performed in musical theater productions, and to sell as many pieces of sheet music as possible. Both then and now, it's a business first and foremost, and everyone's primary goal is to make money. And there are a lot of competing and opposing forces that are going after that money. A lot of decisions will get made that will affect you, and you just have to grow thick skin and not take it personally. You may get dropped from a record label as an artist. If you're a film composer, the director may not like your music and will end up not using it. If you're a producer or recording engineer, your clients may opt to do their next project with somebody else. If you're an orchestral musician, budget cuts may delay your paycheck, or worse, cause your orchestra to fold. There's an infinite number of unexpected scenarios that could happen. None of these things are fun to deal with, but it's all part of the business. And there's this really well-known quote from one of the Temptations, I believe, that says, "It's show business. While you're doing your show on stage, your business can walk out the back door." Number 2, and this is kind of an extension of number 1, but you will face a lot of rejection. Whether you're trying to book gigs, trying to get signed to a label, trying to get clients to come record at your studio, auditioning for a band or an orchestra, pitching your music to artists or publishers, it doesn't matter what you do in the music industry. You will get a lot of no's. Even experienced and successful people get rejected on a regular basis. How you deal with a multitude of rejections can determine your future success in this business. You can't ever take rejections personally. You just have to stay positive and keep your big picture goal at the forefront of your mind at all times. That's the only way you get through. And you have to keep pushing until you get some yeses. And I promise you, those yeses make it all worth it. Number 3, music will no longer be your hobby, and you will have to deal with it. I have seen a lot of young, up-and-coming music pros struggle mightily with the transition from hobbyist to pro, mainly because what was once their hobby, their creative outlet, their passion, their escape from the world is now their job. And they need to do their job well consistently in order to put food on the table. That also means as a new pro, you will have to take on gigs that you don't necessarily want to do, or you will have to take on a job that doesn't necessarily align with your long-term goals. You'll definitely have to pay your dues for a while. Number 4, you don't have to be the most talented person to see success in the industry, but you do have to be the hardest working person in every room that you enter. I was never the most talented audio engineer or producer. I knew a lot of people who were far better than me, who knew Pro Tools better than I did, who could mix, record, and compose better than I ever could. But I succeeded because I outworked them. I wanted it more than they did. I networked better than they did. I brought more passion than they did. Also, there are many major pop stars out there right now who aren't musical virtuosos, but they're still highly successful. They provide value to people. Also, I won't name names, but we can all think of at least one superstar out there that isn't as talented as some of our own friends and colleagues in our own circles. But I guarantee you that superstar outworked everyone else and wanted it more than everyone else. There's a well-known saying that goes, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Definitely applies here. Number 5, 90%, or maybe even more, of your success in this business will be determined by who you know. You have to make a concerted effort to meet as many people as possible. If you're a performing artist, after your show, go interact with your audience and meet as many of them as possible. Talk to them and thank them for coming. If you're a producer or audio engineer, go out to local shows and introduce yourself to musical acts that you like. Let them know what you do and drop them a business card. Once you make these connections, cherish them. Follow up with them. Keep in touch with them. An online social media following is great and kind of required these days, but personal connections still go a long way in this business. And speaking of social media, actually take the time to reply to all of your comments on your posts and videos. It matters. You never know who may be on the other side of those comments. Number 6, say yes to most opportunities that you're offered, especially when you're first starting out. That means occasionally playing a show in front of just a handful of people at a local bar. Or if you're an audio engineer, that may mean taking in a client to your studio that does a genre of music that you're not as comfortable with, or they have a smaller budget than you would like. Or maybe that means writing music for a short film that you know won't really go anywhere. This is all part of paying your dues. And once you gain more experience and meet more people over time, you can leverage that into better future opportunities. One thing, however, you should never, ever do is work for free. Just don't do that, ever. But that's a topic for a different video. Number 7, learn how to sell yourself. You're going to be an entrepreneur in the music business, whether you like it or not. You have to learn how to properly sell yourself and your skills. Selling yourself is not bragging or arrogantly going on and on about your accomplishments and all your skills. No one likes that. Selling yourself is basically listening to the needs of potential clients, collaborators, managers, etc., and confidently telling them that you are the solution to all their needs and that you can accomplish what they want. This can be through in-person conversation, through email, through telephone conversation, or through social media. Developing this skill can get you really far in this industry, or in any industry really. Number 8, perform and work on music that you truly love. Now, while you still have to pay your dues, thinking long term, it's a much better idea to work on music in a style that's more you. Don't pick a style because it's popular or it worked for somebody else. The audience will know that you are lying to them if you perform or create a style of music that you don't like. You cannot fool an audience. I repeat, you cannot fool an audience. Convincing your audience that you love the music you do is all part of selling yourself to that audience, whether it's in person or on social media. I once worked with this country band about 6 or 7 years ago, and I knew a couple of them from previous bands, so I had a pretty good idea of the music that they liked. And when they all came in, we started tracking a couple songs, and the more takes we did of those songs, the more I noticed that their body language was a little off. And when I noticed that, I called them into the control room, and I asked them point blank, "Guys, do you even like these songs that you're recording tonight?" And to their credit, they admitted that they wrote those songs in that style for the sole purpose of trying to get onto country radio, not because they liked those songs or the style. So when they told me that, I sent them home for the night and told them not to come back until they have some songs that they actually enjoyed playing in a style that was more them. A couple weeks later, they came back, and this time they brought some songs that they loved in a style that was more them. It was more raw, dirt road, country, and the sessions went really well. The recordings came out great simply because they enjoyed playing the songs, and there was a vibe, and there was just so much joy in the room that day. And whenever they play those songs live, they're going to have a much easier time selling those songs to their audience and selling themselves to that audience simply because they love the songs. And that passion and that love for the music is contagious. Even though it's not mainstream country, the audience will still love them and those songs because the band loves those songs. Number 9, unapologetically be yourself. What does that mean exactly? That means knowing who you are and staying true to that. That means knowing and capitalizing on your strengths and embracing and accepting your weaknesses. That means knowing what you truly want and not wasting any time going after it. Look at popular artists all throughout history. Think of legends like Beethoven, Louis Armstrong, Ella Fitzgerald, Little Richard, Aretha Franklin, David Bowie, Madonna, Michael Jackson, Lady Gaga. The list goes on and on and on. They all had several things in common. They knew who they wanted to be. They broke all the so-called rules. They did things their own way, and they made no apologies. Number 10, have a hobby outside of music. They don't teach you this in music school. This is super important, yet often overlooked. As musicians, we love working on our craft all day and night. It's what we do. It's part of our identity, and we just want to keep doing it. But from personal experience, and believe me when I say this, it is super, super easy to burn yourself out in this industry. Working hours are often long and stressful, and you just need an escape occasionally. Now, you can do something else in music. In my case, when I was first starting out, I worked my 12-hour days in the studio, but I also played in a band. And while that was fun, after years would pass, I just got tired of doing music all day and all night during my workday and during my free time. It just became too much. So I searched long and hard for a new hobby that didn't involve playing or listening to music. Long story short, I eventually discovered a love for running. And it became the perfect escape from the everyday studio grind. I would go out for my run before work without music, no earbuds, and just be one with nature. After my run, my mind would be clearer, I would have more energy at work, and the quality of my work improved. To this day, I still run. So yes, I strongly recommend finding a non-musical hobby that you can pour yourself into. It can improve your work in music, and you won't get burned out. Work-life balance is key. Now here's a bonus tip. I know I've gone on and on about how difficult the music industry is, so I'm going to leave you with this last piece of advice. Don't quit. Persevere. Push through the difficult times, and there will be a lot of difficult times. There will be times when you will ask yourself why you got into this business. I certainly did. Many times. But if it's still your biggest dream to work in the music industry, you can't see yourself doing anything else, and you're still willing to pour everything you have into it, then there will be a place for you. Keep going. Don't stop. It's worth it. Anyway, I hope these tips will help you as you begin your journey in the music industry. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.